Appears to be getting ready for a strike on Iran's nuclear facilities. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has talked to his cabinet about military action. All this comes as new evidence is surfacing that Iran is developing nuclear weapons. Chris Mitchell has the story now from Jerusalem.
Israeli intelligence believes Iran is continuing its pursuit of nuclear weapons, and Israeli leaders are talking more about what they need to do about it. To some analysts, the rhetoric from Israeli leaders, including Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, indicates Israel could be laying the foundation for a possible preemptive military strike against Iran's nuclear program. For example, in comments earlier this week, Netanyahu warned Iran posed a grave threat to the world, the Middle East, and Israel. He also said, a security philosophy cannot rely on defense alone. It must also include offensive capabilities, which is the very foundation of deterrence. Our policy is guided by two main principles. The first is, if someone comes to kill you, rise up and kill him first. And the second is, if anyone harms us, his blood is on his own hands.
CBN News senior editor John Waggy joins us now for more on this situation between Iran and Israel. Welcome, John.
Thank you.
President Obama talked with French President Sarkozy today about Iran. Where does the U.S. stand on this issue?
And you will hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that you are not troubled, for all these things must come to pass. But the end is not yet.
Well, the U.S. has been conflicted for a number of years. They first said over and over again that Iran cannot be allowed to have a nuclear weapon. That's an untenable position. So sanction after sanction, UN resolution after UN resolution, we're now to the point where it seems that this IAEA report that comes out next week is going to be very ominous in terms of how far Iran has come in the nuclear front. And so we see not only the U.S. and France, but the U.S. and the United Kingdom and Israel all sending emissaries to the different military emissaries to the different countries. They're talking about something. And it may be to the point now where they're realizing that Israel is going to do something about this if the international community can't act with more forcefulness to deal with Iran.
For nation will rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. And there will be famines, pestilences, and earthquakes in various places.
And I looked, and behold, a pale horse. And the name of him who sat on it was Death, and Hades followed with him. And power was given to them over a fourth of the earth, to kill with sword, with hunger, with death, and by the beasts of the earth.
Now, if the U.S. or Israel, if they plan to attack, military strategists, some of them say it has to happen soon. Why is that?
Well, primarily it's a strategic military problem of cloud cover over the nuclear sites in Iran. When the rainy and snowy season comes in Iran, as it's going to do in just a matter of a very few weeks, then it's militarily much more difficult to pull something like that off against a number of targets in Iran. So they're running against a window here, running against a clock in trying to deal with this militarily, unless they want to wait a whole other year. By then, Iran may have enough to build some bombs.
And at the time of the end shall the king of the south push at him, and the king of the north shall come against him like a whirlwind, with chariots and with horsemen and with many ships, and he shall enter into the countries and shall overflow and pass over.
Now, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has been warning people for years, warning the world international community for years about Iran's nuclear threat. Why do you think so little has been done?
Well, that is the central question, and the thing is that Iran has been essentially at war with the United States since 1979, and we have dealt with Iraq in that time frame. We have dealt with Libya. We've dealt to a certain extent with Yemen. We've dealt with all these other countries, but we haven't dealt with Iran, which is the primary fomenter of terrorism in the world, and is the country that wants to go nuclear, and is the country where the leaders believe that the Mahdi, the 12th Imam, is coming and will hasten in the Messianic Muslim Golden Age. And so, and they need to create chaos to do it. So we've seen the signs there. Netanyahu's been warning for the better part of a decade that you can't let Iran go nuclear, and yet that seems to be what the world is on the verge of doing.
He shall enter also into the glorious land, and many countries shall be overthrown, but these shall escape out of his hand, even Edom and Moab, and the chief of the children of Ammon.
There is growing concern over the prospect of another between Israel and Iran. National security correspondent Jennifer Griffin reports on what has triggered the latest beating of war drums in the region.
He shall stretch forth his hand also upon the countries, and the land of Egypt shall not escape. But he shall have power over the treasures of gold and of silver, and over all precious things of Egypt. And the Libyans and the Ethiopians shall be at his steps. But tidings out of the east and out of the north shall trouble him. Therefore he shall go forth with great fury to destroy, and utterly to make away many.
But U.S. military officials and observers are increasingly concerned Israel will act alone.
Is Israel truly serious about planning? The answer is yes.
And he shall plant the tabernacles of his palace between the seas in the glorious holy mountain. Yet he shall come to his end, and none shall help him.
It's conducted air exercises recently which very much improve their capability to know exactly what they can do in very long-range strikes.
One senior military source says if Israel strikes, the U.S. will not stop its warplanes. Defense Minister Ehud Barak has made repeated trips to the Pentagon in recent months, and Pentagon sources note that Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu purged his military in recent months of generals who do not support an Iran strike.